Cochise, Geronimo, and God. Saturday morning, my cousin Philip and I hunt trilliums for our moms in the woods behind the house. We bring home a whole lunchbox full. Well, now they won't bloom again, Mom says. Leave them be. We'll put these in water and they'll be fine. Go back outside and play, and remember, no running with Philip. We take our bows outside to shoot at the target my uncle set up on some hay bales. We can at least hit the bales every time. We get bored, and Philip has the idea to put the target on the ground. Like artillery, he says. You shoot straight up as you can and see how close you can drop to the target. I look at the target, at our feet, at the sky, then at the house, barn, horses, all in easy range. If we shoot straight up, I say, maybe it'll come straight down and hit us. It's only one arrow, he says. It can't hit both of us. I put the target at the bottom of the hill just to be sure, and we stand on top to get more height. We both shoot a few arrows, arcing closer to the target each time. This way, the wild shots stick straight up, closer to the target each time. Well, shots stick straight up out of the ground, a lot easier to find than our usual, buried under the brush. After my turn, I'm pulling my last arrow when Philip yells, "Look out, look out!" I jump up and his arrow punches down into the bone of my left shoulder. The arrow sticks straight down, the shaft flicking my ear, and I drop to my knees in the dirt. The arrow rings when it hits bone, and that tone runs right up my collarbone and into my skull. My stomach's turning over. I try to get up, but the arrow weighs me down. Philip appears like magic, gasping. I'm sorry, he says. I just wanted to get close enough to scare you. I feel funny, like nothing's connected and can't talk. You're bleeding, he says. He tries pulling the arrow, but it doesn't come out. My shoulder itches really bad when he wiggles the arrow. Philip skins off his t-shirt and holds it where the arrow goes in, and that stops the bleeding while he catches his breath. His skinny chest and belly blotch blue and white as he struggles to breathe. A thick blue scar down the middle marks where they saved him when he was born. He still has a hole in his heart that makes him blue, so he isn't supposed to run with us. His blue lips say something I can't hear. My hands feel tingly, and black spots swarm over everything. Philip yanks hard this time, and the arrow sucks out, and my breath comes back with a snort. Blood wells down my shirt every time my heart pounds. He wads his shirt up under my shirt to stop it. My blood smears his hands and chest. We're going to get in trouble, I say. He grunts something and helps me up. My legs won't work right. We'll just go straight to my room, he says. We can clean up there. This is my mom's first visit to my dad's family since we left. My dad isn't here. Mom, my aunt, and my uncle are playing hearts in the kitchen with the radio blasting, so we sneak through there really fast to get to Philip's bedroom. Everything goes silent. Then the door bangs open and the room fills with adults and shouting, and then I wake up at home on Sunday afternoon with a perfectly round hole where my collarbone meets my shoulder bone. Now it throbs. And when Mom changes the bandage, I see the crusty yellow powder the doctor stuffed inside. It has to heal from the inside out, he said. That powder keeps it from closing up too soon and getting infected. Well, what did the Indians use? They had their own powders. She puts on a fresh pile of gauze pads and tapes it into place. Medicine men and women knew the right plants and how to use them. People here use Devil's Club root for diabetes. Grandma takes shots. They're both prickly. My shoulder won't let my arm work right to get into a new t-shirt. Here, Mom says, use this old shirt in case the bandage leaks. My cousin's hand-me-down shirt from last year presses the bandage tight, and the sleeves come nowhere near my wrists. He's a year older, but a lot smaller. I can cut those off for you if you want, she says. I'll just roll them up. 5 hard knocks at the door. Dad. Mom sighs and makes a face. Don't worry, she says. It wasn't your fault. I'll take care of it. Dad looks different than I've ever seen him. He's scared. Philip's in the hospital, he says. His heart gave out after everybody left. He wants to see the boy. I borrowed a car. I haven't been alone with my dad since the divorce, and I don't really want to be alone with him. He didn't have to run. I say it didn't really bleed until nobody's blaming you, he snaps. He clears his throat. Philip might not make it this time, and he wants to see you. Do you want to go? Might not make it. My legs and stomach feel like when the arrow hit. He can barely walk, Mom says. I don't think he should go. I think he should, and I think we should get going now. That serious? Yes. I get my breath back. I want to see him, I say. I have to show him my shoulder. Dad and I practice not looking at each other while Mom helps me into my coat. I'll get him back tonight, he says. It might be late. Philip's in Seattle. Seattle's a long drive, and Grandpa's car barely makes it up the hills, and the hospital is part of a school that's bigger than our town. My dad never says a word until we get to the hospital, and neither do I. We pass a room with kids in iron lungs. Last year, we got shots, so it wouldn't happen to us. We all know kids who left school with polio, and we heard about iron lungs that help them breathe, but I didn't imagine those coffins. The lids have mirrors tilted up in front of them so they can see who they're talking to on the out-breath. Kids in braces and on crutches practice walking in the halls. Philip's room is on the top floor. The hallway sounds pump and beat, the squeak, squeak of nurses' shoes, the thunk, thunk, thunk of wheels on carts. Otherwise, everything's quiet. Your aunt and uncle went for a bite to eat, the nurse says. Your cousin wanted to see you alone, is that okay? She asks me, but she looks at my dad. We both say yes. She squats down to my level. Your cousin's very, very sick, she says. Because of that, and because of some medicines we've been giving him, he might not look the same, but it's him. Will you be okay? Well, what does he look like? Well, basically, he's just swelled up, kind of puffy. Oh. And he has a lot of trouble breathing. That's what the tubes going to his nose are for, to give him oxygen. So if you ask him a question, you have to give him some time to answer. Okay. I have no idea what I might ask him. She pulls the curtain aside and says, Philip, your cousin's here to see you, and she leaves. He's very puffed up. I wouldn't recognize him except he laughs and wheezes, Cochise. Geronimo, I say, what's the plan? Save yourself, he says. I'm only going out, feet first. Not funny. True. He catches his breath for a second, and I take the chair beside his bed. A pitcher of water and a glass with a straw sit on the bedside stand. Want some water? I ask. He wheezes another laugh and puts a weak hand to his puffy face. This is all water. Hey, that's my shirt. Looks a lot better on me. Makes you look better, you mean? He closes his eyes for a moment and concentrates on breathing. Shoulder. Just a little hole with some powder in it. Want to see? Well, yeah. I unbutton the shirt and peel back the bandage. He can barely turn his head, so I have to lean real close. His breathing gurgles and pops against my neck. Cool. Sorry. He closes his eyes and sinks back into the pillow. It's okay, I say. I'm the only kid in town who's been shot with a real arrow. Philip tilts his head back to breathe easier. I scared a nurse. How'd you do that? Student nurse, he says. I quit breathing, stared straight. What did she do? He wheezes another laugh. Ran, yelled code blue. But you're always blue. Yeah, perfect, huh? He laughs and seems to sleep for a few seconds, snoring in quick breaths. His eyes are closed, and I'm ready to call the nurse when he speaks. Your school, he asks, they teach you about God? I feel a chill in my spine. I know then for sure Philip is going to die. My dad's family doesn't go to church. We never talk to them about being Catholic, so we never talk about God, and his tone of voice is dead serious. They teach us that different people have different ideas of God, but that they're all trying to get at the same thing. He doesn't say anything. I listen to his breathing for a while, and the snoring sound comes back. Then he says, "You know me. Will I go to hell?" I know what the church would say, that he has to be baptized to go to heaven, but I can't imagine God turning Philip away. Be straight, coaches. The church says we're the image and likeness of God, I say. That means he's got a sense of humor, I'll say you're in. His eyes open as best they can through the puffy lids. I stole Pop. I lied. I swore. I looked at Tim's dirty pictures. This time he keeps his gaze on me while he catches his breath. God wouldn't care about that stuff. I say, you didn't kill anybody, did you? I'm stalling. Didn't have time. Then I think of something Father O'Brien said. Anyone can baptize anyone else in an emergency. This is an emergency, I whisper. No shit, Sherlock, he whispers back. I try to think of what Father O'Brien would say. I go to confession to him because he's fast and doesn't lecture. Are you sorry for the things you did that you think were wrong, I ask. The answer is yes, in a long, heavy sigh. I take the glass of water and trickle it over his head. I baptize you in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, amen. That's better, he says. He still looks me in the eye, but now his breath comes in huge sighs. Then, you, he laughs, a priest. Then he simply never takes a breath. I wait and put the water glass back, wait some more because he pulled this one already on the nurse. But then I can see he isn't in there. And I can't touch him. All I can think to say is, I won't forget you. Something must have gone off somewhere because a lot of nurses came running in, and one pushes me out into the hall with Dad. You all right? He asks. Yes. What did he say? He wanted to know about God. And I suppose you told him all about it. That's his picking a fight voice when we talk about God. Yes. He's about to say something when one of the nurses comes out and shakes her head. What did he say, he asks, when you told him? I don't want to say anything about baptizing anybody. He said, that's better, I say. Then he laughed. He laughed. Dad squints at me and shakes his head. Well, I'll be go to hell. He pats me twice on the back. First time he's touched me since the split. And we head to the cafeteria to break the news to my aunt and uncle. Thank you.